6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dulmin Samarsinghe and read by Niranjan Abesundara. The report of the Easter Sunday Presidential Commission handed over to the Cardinal and the Mahanayaka to the Malbatan Askari chapters. The GCE O-level examination conducted successfully. Education authorities instruct to implement an infrastructure development plan for government schools. Trilateral National Security Secretariat established. The court directs IGP to remove the investigation into the alleged assault on the law student from the Paligada police station. In world news, ASEAN foreign ministers are to meet to discuss on Myanmar tomorrow. In sports news golf, Colin Morikawa wins WGC Workday Championship in Florida. The report of the Easter Sunday Presidential Commission has been handed over to His Eminence, Malcolm Khalil Ranjit, today by Director General of President's Legal Affairs, Harigupta Rohanadira. It is also handed over to the Mahanayaka of the Malbata chapter, Most Venerable Tibatuabi Sri Samagara Thero, and the Mahanayaka of the Askari chapter, Most Venerable Barakagora Sri Jnanaratna Thero. Harigupta Rohanadira handed over the report to the Chief Prelates today. Minister of the GLP said the GCE O-level examination was conducted successfully at examination centres island-wide. 38 corona-infected students sat for the examination at separate centres. The minister said unnecessary fear should not be entertained about health security during the examination. The Committee on Public Accounts instructed the Education Authority to implement an infrastructure development plan for government schools where there is a minimum number of students within 4 months. The committee chaired by Professor Sivitharan met at the Parliament premises to examine the performance of government schools, where the number of students were relatively low. The committee drew the attention to take immediate action to solve the water issues in these schools as well as the sanitation issues. The committee also said that there was a resource disparity due to the lack of proper coordination for the schools. It is revealed that there are 5,161 schools in the country with less than 200 students, and there are many problems regarding the quality of those schools. The COPA also told the education authorities that the Code of Conduct on School Structure should be revised from time to time under supervision of education administration experts. The committee also drew attention to the importance of overseeing the implementation of the transfer orders when transferring teachers and principals to unpopular schools. The committee also pointed out the need to implement special programs to improve the examination results of those schools, as the examination results of a school are a major factor in attracting students. It is revealed at the committee that 93 schools were closed from 2013 to 2017 due to lack of students, the prevailing situation in the country, and other reasons. In 2018 alone, 101 schools were closed. In keeping with the discussion held at the previous National Security Advisor Level Trade Trilateral meeting on maritime security cooperation with India and the Maldives, a Secretariat for Trilateral National Security Advisors and Maritime Security Cooperation was established at the Sri Lanka Navy Headquarters, Colombo, today. The entire world is benefited with this initiative, and the Indian Ocean is the lifeline of the entire world, said Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Kolomage during the event while expressing his concerns into the importance of the Indian Ocean. According to the Navy Commander, Vice Admiral Nishanta Ulugethanna, a fully-fledged new secretariat will be operated 24/7. The Secretary, Minister of Defence and State Ministry of National Security and Disaster Management, General Kamal Gunarapna, Foreign Minister Secretary Admiral Professor Janath Kolomage, Navy Commander Vice Admiral Nishanta Ulugethanna, and Defence Attaches of India and the Maldives also present at the brief opening ceremony. Sri Lanka hosted the 4th NSA-level trilateral meeting on maritime security cooperation with India and the Maldives on the 27th and 28th of November 2020 in Colombo, while Bangladesh, Seychelles and Mauritius represented the meeting virtually as observer states. The Colombo Magistrate Court had directed IGP to remove the investigation into the alleged assault on law students Migara Gunarapna and his obstruction of duty at the Paligada police station and directed it to another special investigation unit. The order was given by Colombo Additional Magistrate Bandar and Elumdenia after considering the submissions made by the legal counsels for both parties when the case was called today. Considering the submission, the Additional Magistrate scheduled the next hearing of the case to the 15th of March. The Institute of National Security Studies held a panel discussion titled Sri Lanka's Children as Instruments of War. Discussion was held at the Foreign Ministry recently. Session was moderated by Director General of the Institute of National Security Studies, Admiral Professor Janath Kolomage, and comprised of an expert panel of speakers. Admiral Kulabage provided a descriptive narrative on how LTT were responsible for robbing the children of their basic freedom, dreams and their childhood. Radhani Panagoda set out the legal framework to the fundamental child rights which had deliberate abuse by the LTTE. She also firmly stated children who were victimized must be protected under the law and to be reintegrated back into society and receive the opportunity to live a life that they truly deserve. Major General Sudhanta Rana Singh, having personal experience in rehabilitation programs, mentioned that over 6,000 of captured and surrendered cadres have been already reintegrated back into society. The former LTT cadres were provided with vocational training while school children were facilitated to complete their secondary education. He also mentioned how 594 child soldiers have been reunited with their families. Dr. Malakanta Hettiara discussed about the psychological aspect that children underwent and stressed that the horrors the victims faced are unfathomable, and further discussed how certain children during their abduction were raped, beaten and tortured and forced to carry out acts of violence against the military and innocent civilians. The Court of Appeal has set 17th March to consider revision petitions filed by former Director of Criminal Investigation Department Shani Abesekara and former Sub-Inspector of CID Sugat Mendes. The petition was called before judges comprising Nisanka Bandula Karunaratna and R. Gurusingha today. Attorney at law Viran Korea, appearing on behalf of the petitioners, requested the court to give an early date for consideration of the bail application, claiming it had been filed considering the urgent need. Accordingly, the bench decided to summon the petition on the 17th of March. The bench also directed the counsel for the petitioner to take steps to make submissions regarding the case on the same day. Steps have been taken to enhance health facilities in the Trincomalee district under the Gamasanga phase of the program. The 12th phase of the program was held recently at Gobarang Khadawala, Kuli Khadawala. Gobarang Khadawala Rural Hospital, Kantale Base Hospital, Morababa and Tominagamu hospitals are being developed. Steps have been taken to fill the staff vacancies at those hospitals. A blood transfusion centre will be established in the Padavi Sripura area. Ms. Namal Radhapaksa said that funds allocated from the Ministry of Sports for Youth have been increased up to 20% from 6%. The minister mentioned this addressing the inaugural session of the 5th Youth Parliament, which was held today at the National Youth Services Council in Maharagama. The minister said it is essential to create a youth community that suits the modern era and he would always stand by their rights. Youth Organization of Sri Lanka Puran Periman said that the economy of the country has improved under the government's people-friendly local economic policy during the past 6 months. Issuing a statement, it has been pointed out that a program to provide relief to the people has been implemented with the banks. A methodology has been prepared enabling low-income recipients to get loans under the concessionary terms of interest. Several civil society organizations handed over a document to the Swiss Embassy in Colombo protesting against the resolution against the Sri Lanka Army and the UN Human Rights Council. Thereafter, they held a protest in front of the UN office in Colombo. Meanwhile, addressing a media briefing today, Minister Professor G.L. Piri said he condemned the bias program against Sri Lanka by the UN Human Rights Commission. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. 2 new secretaries have been appointed. Mr. M.B.R. Pushkumar has been appointed as the new Secretary of the Agriculture Ministry. Mr. B.L.A. Jayadharmakirti has been appointed as the Secretary of the State Ministry of Handicraft and Local Textile Productions. Director of Water Management of the Irrigation Department, D. Abhisiravardhana, said cultivation of the Jara season will commence on the 15th of this month. He said cultivations will be conducted until the 20th of April. He further said supplying water from main tanks for the Maha season has ended and harvesting of the Maha season is underway. That is local news for now.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Ministry of Health said that another 475 COVID-19 patients have recovered and discharged from the hospital within the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 79,422. A total of 83,242 cases of coronavirus have been reported in Sri Lanka so far, while 3,349 of them are currently under medical care. Sri Lanka death toll due to the virus stands at 471. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On to Watchlight, the Indian Air Force and Indian Navy will participate in the 70th anniversary celebration of Sri Lanka Air Force. To commemorate the event, a flight pass and an aerobatic display will be held at Golf Face from Wednesday. Presentation of President's colours to number 5 Fighter Squadron and number 6 Helicopter Squadron of Sri Lanka Air Force will also be held. That came to in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
ASEAN foreign ministers are to discuss on Myanmar tomorrow. Hong Kong activists chant protest slogans as crowds gather for subversion hearing. Chloe Zhao becomes first Asian woman to win Best Director at Golden Globes Award. Association of Southeast Asian Nations foreign ministers will hold a special meeting on Tuesday to discuss Myanmar. Singapore's foreign minister said calling for immediate release of ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Vivian Balakrishnan said in Parliament today a special ASEAN foreign ministers meeting will be convened tomorrow, where they will listen to representatives of the Myanmar military authorities. Protest slogans rang out as about 1,000 people gathered outside Hong Kong court today for the hearing of 47 democracy activists charged with conspiracy to commit subversion as authorities intensified crackdown on the opposition. Security was tight with more than 100 police officers deployed outside West Kowloon Court in the largest rally this year. Asians around the world reacting with happy tears as Chloe Zhao made history at the Golden Globe Awards, becoming the first Asian woman to ever win a prize for Best Director. Many online praised her for being a huge inspiration for young Asian girls, adding that it was a win for women everywhere. Nomadland director, who was born in China, is only the second woman to win the award. The first award was won by Streisand in 1984. Duke of Sussex has shared his concern that history was repeating itself before he decided to step back from the royal family. In excerpts of an upcoming TV special with Oprah Winfrey, Prince Harry said he was relieved to have his wife Meghan by his side. The Duke referenced his mother's departure from the royal family 3 decades ago, saying he cannot begin to imagine what she went through alone. And back to the headlines of the world news. ASEAN foreign ministers are discussing Myanmar tomorrow. Hong Kong activists chant protest slogans as crowds gather for subversion hearing. Chloe Zhao became the first Asian woman to win Best Director at Gold Awards. That was world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by
CIB offers valuable prize for New Year from 1st to 15th of March. Our choice in our own place. CIB.
Pan-Asian Power, a dynamic Sri Lankan renewable energy solutions organization and a leading supplier of renewable energy to the national grid, recently commissioned a 3-megawatt ground solar power plant in Mathura worth a total investment of 420 million rupees. Pan-Asian Power is an equity investor and led all aspects of the construction. Pan-Asian Power also took the lead in securing power purchase agreements for the project. That is development news.
Development News was brought to you by
CIB offers valuable prize for New Year from 1st of 15th of March. Our choice in our own place. CIB.
On to sports news. Golf American Colin Morikawa hit a 3-under par final round of 65-9 to win the WGC Workday Championship by 3 shots at the concession in Florida. 24-year-old led by 2 overnight and after bogeying the second carded 4 birdies to win on 18 under. Norway's Victor Hovland finished with 6-7 to end joint second on 15 under with American Brooks Koepka and Bill Horschel, who both shot 2 under 70s. Formula One has declined an offer from Bahrain to vaccinate all personnel attending the pre-season testing at the year's opening Grand Prix. The Gulf states said the move was part of its vaccination program, which was extending to events in the country. A spokesman of Formula One said the sport had no plan to be vaccinated as a group ahead of the rollout of vaccines through the health system in the UK. Basketball, LeBron James marked his 1,300th NBA regular season game, helping Los Angeles Lakers to 117-91 victory over the Golden State Warriors. James has won championships with 3 franchises, had 19 points plus 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocked shots in 24 minutes. He sat out all of the fourth quarter along with the rest of the starters from both teams as the Lakers closed out a dominant victory. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Despite the unprecedented circumstances followed by the outbreak of the COVID-19 global pandemic, Nations Trust Bank Group has demonstrated resilient performance with a bottom line growth of 9%. However, net interest income fell short by 15%, while the interest margins eroded due to combined impact of the low interest regime, interest rate ceilings imposed, and the concessionary interest rates granted on the debt moratorium. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman said financial markets will become proactive, maximizing funding sources for growth-oriented endeavors of the public as well as the private sector. He said implementation of those structural reforms, along with the picking up of government revenues and rationalization of government expenditure, should ensure sustainability and successful management of public debt in the period ahead. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman was speaking at the inaugural webinar of the Vimamsa initiative on the external debt situation in Sri Lanka recently. That is economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. Heard you gave a treat for everyone in your department yesterday.
Yeah.
When will be our treat, huh?
Well, how about today?
Oh no, I was just joking. We'll have a party with your new salary.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On to the weather. Met Department says mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. Misty conditions can be expected some places in the central, Sabra Gamarua and western provinces during the morning tomorrow. Back to the headlines of the news report of the Easter Sunday Presidential Commission hand over to the Cardinal and the Mahanayakas of the Malwathu and Askari chapters. The GCE O-level examination conducted successfully. Education authorities instructed to implement an infrastructure development plan for government schools. Trilateral National Security Secretariat established. Co-Director IGP removed the investigation into the alleged assault on the law student from the Paligura police station. In world news, ASEAN foreign ministers are to meet to discuss on Myanmar tomorrow. Sports is golf. Colin Morikawa wins WGC Workday Championship in Florida. That in the news, and back to Chandima Veerakonda to keep entertained on this Monday evening. Over to you, Chandima.